I guess.
We are live. All right. I guess happy Flag Day for Ukraine. Happy upcoming Independence Day for Ukraine. We're live.
Can you guys see us? I don't know.
I can see you and myself. And a beautiful Ukrainian flag in the back. So you guys can
Okay, it
see.
might be. Is it live on your channel?
Yes, it's live.
All right, I guess we're live. Yay! Well, that took some time to figure out. Hi, guys. Told you this is my second time doing the controls for live streaming, but we did it. We're here, and we didn't even have to switch links. So I'm a genius.
I used to always say that. Now we have proof.
Yep. All right, Johnny, you want to introduce yourself just so people know who you are?
Hello, guys. I'm Johnny from Young Ukrainians YouTube channel. Um, or you can just call me a fan of Slavie and her YouTube channel. We're doing our part of fighting Russian propaganda, the threats, the attacks, the lies, just spreading the very normal and healthy Russophobia around very proudly, you know, very healthily. All right, that's me.
Awesome. Yeah, people are saying you have a great shirt, and I agree. Hey, what about my shirt though?
Yeah, beautiful.
Um, can you turn your volume up?
Me personally,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
Your
I
mic.
was looking at that before. I can do that.
I thought it was just me. I'm like, what's wrong with my volume? But
Okay, I have this right here. Okay, can you tell me if something changes right now? I
but
turned it up.
keep doing mic check.
And again. Oh, no, I did the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, Nothing should have changed. Let me do the right thing now. What
You,
about right now?
um,
You should
I
have
think
noticed a little bit of a difference.
it's kind of the same.
Kind of the
Where's
same.
your mic? Maybe put it closer, like physically.
I have. What about right now? Is it different?
Yeah, it's better. A little better.
Can you hear me good or no?
A little better.
A little
Yeah.
better. Okay. What about right now?
Yeah. Good. Good.
And I can also put it closer. If that's.
That's okay. Now
But
you're good.
I think now it's good because I put it way up. Um,
I think you're good. That's
all
perfect.
right.
Yeah, I think let's get into the show. I think we're good to go.
Let's get to it.
I'll do my intro. Tomorrow, August 24th, Ukraine marks 33 years of independence. But this freedom is older than any empire's map and far more dangerous to those who fear it. On August 24th, 1991, Ukraine tore itself from the wreckage of the Soviet Union. It was not a birth, but a return. A nation reclaiming its place from Kievan Rus centuries before Moscow was even a swamp. The Kremlin never forgave that. Like a toxic ex, it couldn't stand Ukraine turning toward Europe and democracy. A free, independent Ukraine threatens the very myth of a great Russian empire and exposes Russia for the failed mafia state that it is. In 2014, Ukrainians rose on Maidan. Moscow answered as it always has, with theft, death, and destruction. Crimea was seized, and war in Donbass. And in 2022, the full scale invasion began. Yet, even now they can't take much more territory. Meanwhile, having delusions of grandeur like it's the 18th century imperial entitled genocidal, clinging to a fantasy built on rot. It's a gas station. Today, NATO chiefs and a coalition of the willing are drafting security guarantees to make sure Russia never invades another country again. But after the Budapest Memorandum and so many betrayals, can Ukraine trust the West? Zelensky says Russia cannot be trusted with peace. While he sends daily missiles and drone attacks on civilians, Putin also demands land, erasure of language, and freedom be surrendered. Ukraine's answer is clear: better to fight than to live as slaves to the Kremlin regime. So 33 years on, under Russian fire for 11 years straight, Ukraine stands at the front line of freedom for all of us. The world order is shifting. The map is being redrawn. Will the West rise and fight for freedom, claiming its place in the future, or let dictators swallow us whole into a multipolar world and decide our future for us? The choice is ours. Welcome, guys, to, I guess, Ukraine Update live stream. Happy to have you here.
Hello, guys. Hello, hello, hello. So this is a very important day for Ukraine, historically, and just, another day that Russia says will not come. Every year they warn us, this is the last Independence Day you will celebrate. Every year on this day specifically, Russia ups its attacks. All the missiles, all the drones that they have, they save it for this day. Tomorrow, unfortunately, Ukrainian children, Ukrainian people, Ukrainian civilians will die because of this. But Ukraine will stay strong, will remain. Russia will never, never in a million years will conquer Ukraine, will do what it wants to do with Ukraine, never. However, the rhetoric of Russia is always, 2 days, 2 weeks, till summer, till fall, till winter, till whatever next timeline. But of course, we're still here. Ukraine is still independent and free. And even though Slavie said it correctly, Russia cannot gain ground right now in a military fashion. I would like to correct that. Ukraine has gotten some ground lately. Ukraine has been on a beautiful offensive. Of course, these news are kind of overshadowed by the fact that the weakest president of the United States since forever, Donald Trump, invited Putin on sacred United States land, and this news kind of overshadowed the fact that Ukraine is beating Russia. Ukraine is winning on the front lines, gaining grounds. Russia is doing some grounds. They gain like 20 yards or something, while Ukraine is gaining like hundreds, and Russia is claiming, oh, look, we're gaining ground. And somebody has to say that actually it's Ukraine that are gaining ground. It's Ukraine that's beating Russia right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think only Russia can carry out an invasion and lose land at the same time.
It's Russian way, but it's also important to not underestimate Russia, because militarily Russia loses every war that it starts. It loses every battle, right? But it kind of wins the war. And it's the danger that we have to contend with, even though on the ground, Russia will not win any battles. They're very poor fighters. But it's the Russian thinking, the Russian mentality, which is very different from Western mentality. It's very different from anything that people understand about Russia. Or like, let's say, when Westerners try to explain Russia, they're always wrong. It's not an accident that Russia has a similar kind of uh, structure, kind of like North Korea, similar love for dictatorship, the value of the information, like they like this one-sided information, like our leader and United States will fall. They're very similar, Russia to North Korea. But look at North Korea. North Korea is this small, right? Russia is this big. What is the difference? The difference is Russian thinking, Russian mentality. Russians are very cohesive and they're always working on expanding their borders, on grabbing more land. They will suffer, they will live in subpar conditions, which they consider it's their tactical advantage, that they can live in a toilet or without a toilet, in dirt. It's their tactical advantage, while the West is trying to better our lives, to make it safer for our children. That's our disadvantage. That's our weakness in the eyes of Russians.
Yeah. The Russian mentality is so insane to me that they would rather, just to win, they would rather live in a toilet like garbage, um, in complete like dirt poor, because Russia is dirt poor, most of it. The only places is Moscow and St. Petersburg that are okay.
Exactly.
It's like most of
Those
it.
are like the showcase cities. And Russians are okay with it. They understand that Moscow is a showcase city, so people come to the Moscow and they're like, "Oh my God, Russia is beautiful!" Like that idiot Tucker Carlson. He came into the supermarket, which was like literally staged for him. Everything that's in that supermarket on that day was put there for Tucker Carlson. He spends $200, which most Russians live for $140 a month, So he spends $200 and says, "Look how everything is cheap in Russia. I just spent $200, which is more than the monthly salary of 90% of Russians, you know."
You know how
And
bad it has to be in Russia for Tucker Carlson to promote that? That's the only thing he could have been like, look at this.
yeah, I mean, but that's why it's our job to explain to people how dangerous Russia is and why, despite everything, they are winning. They will not eat, they will not get good nutrition. Their children will be, going to school through dirt, but they will be grabbing land. They will be committing genocide. They will be buying our politicians. They will put agents into our government. That's a big priority for them, and they will succeed on those fronts. So to us and to me personally, it doesn't matter if they don't value a good life, if they want to live in a toilet. To me, that's okay, as long as they stay in Russia. But that's not the Russian way. They will never be contained by their borders. They don't recognize their borders where they are. They never do. In fact, Putin has said that Russia doesn't have any borders, and I hope people who think that you can be friends with Russia, that you're listening to that, because that's like being a friends with an alligator, with a crocodile. It's like, until next time he's hungry, and then you will pay. And the best promise that Russia makes for its citizens, every once in a while you can go into a nice country like Ukraine. Like, they also promise, like, Baltic countries, France is on the radar. You can go there and you can, marauder. You can take what's there. All these nice countries building these nice lives, having these beautiful women over there to RAPE. So that's Russian way of, okay, we have it really bad today, but someday we can attack Ukraine, someday we can attack California, as they say, someday we can attack Alaska, someday we'll attack Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, any country that's close.
I recently heard this, and was first time, but apparently, kind of the MAGA is wanting to, be friends with Russia for their women because they're whites, and it's kind of the last untapped market for white women to kind of save the white race.
By the way, that's the biggest lie that Russia is portraying. Russia is anything but white. This is like the Russian, again, the showcase Russia. They take Ukrainian-looking people who live in Russia, and they make photographs of those Ukrainian-looking people. They say these are Russians, and then you look at Ukrainian front lines, who is actually coming, because Russia, it's not a uniform country of like Russians. In fact, there is no such ethnicity as a Russian. It's like 80, 90 different nationalities, ethnicities. Actually, ethnicities, it's over like 300 or 400. Russia keeps destroying them, ethnicizing them, calling them Ruskiy. So they forget their native language, their customs, their name of their ethnicity, even in many cases. When you look at those numbers, ethnicity numbers, each year, like let's say Mordva, there's like 10 years ago, there was like millions of them. Now there's like hundreds of thousands. Next year, it's going to be thousands, Russia is in the process of ethnicizing anyone who's inside, but they're not, most of them are not white. They're any kind of variety of Asian, Turk Asian looking. Some are white.
I don't even consider Russians as Slavic. I consider them as Mongols. Because
I mean, historically they are. They feel the most close. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I'd rather them to be like Mongols. Mongols is a great country with great traditions. They're not attacking anyone.
That's what Mongols like back in the day, and the Russians, they kept that structure of kind of dictatorship and full control. So they're full on Mongols because they didn't adapt Western Western ways. And they stepped with this dictatorship, and it's always been their thing, or tsars, or
They don't like Western ways. It's offensive to them when they come to West. They love the West, because the West is gullible. The West can be lied to, can be fooled. The West can be exploited. You can sell oil to the West, gas to the West, and then you can bomb them when the time is right. So Russia loves to exploit the West. But if you tell Russians, oh, listen, let's be like us, let's be like the West, let's be peaceful, it enrages Russians. They think that's very arrogant. Of like when when American president says, oh, you guys, you want to be part of our club, you want to be like us, they will say yes. They will say yes. But that's where the lie is. They don't feel part of the West. And as soon as the time is right, they will stick the knife in the back of any country that they can get their hands on, like they did with
Ukraine. Come in and destroy it from the within, which is what you're seeing right now.
Absolutely. Do you want to speak about that video that you sent me yesterday about, I guess Russia is doing its new thing. They attacked one of the most technologically advanced and beautiful countries in Europe, which is Ukraine. And they're parading, like, look how beautiful Ukraine is. And then they're contrasting the poor sites of like poor neighborhoods in Los Angeles, and they say, look how poor Los Angeles is, and instead of building up Los Angeles, they're sending like money or whatever, actually weapons to Ukraine, which is already beautiful, which is just a retarded Russian propaganda. Anyone with half a brain cell can see that this is a manipulative tactic. We should all support Ukraine. It's very hard to fight Russians.
But careful, everyone but MAGA, because that's the audience it was created for, and that's why I got so angry because the person that I saw spreading it, a journalist, he's MAGA, but he's in Ukraine, pro-Ukrainian, but
Wait, the guy that you send me, he's not MAGA, or he's pro-Ukrainian.
he's pro-Ukrainian, but he's MAGA.
Keith Edwards, that guy?
No.
Oh, maybe I misunderstood.
Um,
But anyway, what you sent me, it's this guy, and he says, okay, this is the new like Russian propaganda tactic. They're picturing, they're describing the beautiful Ukraine, which Ukraine is beautiful. There's no doubt about it. Beautiful
that
people.
guy actually, that journalist, he before it just showed Kiev. What that journalist did, because he is pro-Ukrainian, and MAGA. So what he did was he changed the footage of Kiev with explosions. Like, this is what Russia is doing. Yes, it's beautiful, but Russia is, because the original version, it had no explosion. Like, everything is beautiful and perfect. There's no war.
The original version was done by Russia. So
Yes.
he edited it to say, listen, yes, Ukraine is beautiful, but Russia is bombing it every day. And it's unfair to contrast it to like a poor neighborhood in Los Angeles, you know.
They take the worst. They take, and now to Los Angeles, which pissed me off. They took Skid Row, which is like one. It's not even a neighborhood. It's one street in downtown Los Angeles, which nobody really goes to downtown Los Angeles anyways, because we have so many different other, I guess, downtowns, focal points in the cities. We can choose where we go. So it's not like we have to walk past it or drive past it. No, if you go to, if you
And
decide
also
to
in many ways, the Skid Row has become a kind of a cultural spot and tourist attraction as well. You know, as long as you have a good car with strong windows and like good tires. You know, I had somebody come from Czech Republic, and they said, "Hey, can you take us to Skid Row? Like, we just want to see. Is that true?" And it is. It's kind of
I went through
surreal.
the same thing. My friends were like, "Yeah, let's take you to Skid Row."
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean, no country is without its faults. America doesn't say. I mean, the only perfect country in the world is Russia, of course. But America doesn't say that we are a perfect country. Ukraine is not a perfect country. Nobody's perfect. Everyone struggling with their own issues and problems. However, you know, our biggest problem right now for Ukraine, it's war. For United States, the biggest problem is Russia, and Russia's sympathizing people who are letting Russia to just like a cancer invade the whole structure of United States, where everything is now everybody in United States government now seems to be a Russian agent of sorts. You know, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm sorry if I'm speaking over you.
What?
No, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh no, I'm nodding. You're right. I was just gonna say one thing. Just be careful. Like, some people are definitely plants, so obvious, like Tulsi Gabbard. But like calling maybe I've heard like people are accusing Trump of being like Agent Krasnov, and that's like conspiracy land. And
Yeah, that's a conspiracy for sure.
yeah, I truly believe he's just enamored by like Putin. You know,
He
what?
likes Russia. He
Yeah.
likes Russian aesthetic. It's a sickening aesthetic. It's a sick way. And by the way, this is another thing that's very important. Russia has always been able to recruit useful idiots in the West. You know, there's no other way to put it. And Russia is relentless in this, and their tactics are daring, very daring. They're bold, they're impudent when it comes to like recruiting. They always recruit. They always get people to fall in love with Russia. There's not much to love, you know, but they're putting this showcase cities. They have this showcase books. They have this showcase ballet. They have this all facade of Russia which is nothing like what Russia is actually. You talk to a typical Russian, they've never seen ballet in their life. They've never read Dostoevsky or Tolstoy, which are horrible, horrible books to begin with. Nobody should read any of that. Not only they're horrible, they're completely mistruthful,
And
uh, full of lies. You cannot trust. Like basically, all these books are by people who were kind of like Trump, enamored by the ruler of the time and writing complimentary things about who was in power. That's what Dostoevsky was doing. He was like he was criticized for loving Tsar too much. He loved the Russian, not Tsar, but emperor, and all his books were related to just explaining how emperor was right about everything. And he would write this huge book because emperor didn't like nihilism at the time. So this guy goes and writes a book this thick about a nihilist who killed this poor grandma with an axe because emperor said in passing, "Oh, I don't like nihilists." So this guy goes and writes a freaking book for 800 pages. And then Russia, Crime and Punishment, I'm talking about. And then Russia puts it into every shelf in every country, in every language, forever. And they're like, look, this is a great Russian literature. Completely full of lies, completely false. Everything is backwards in that literature. But that's how Russia recruits people. And then we have people like Jordan Peterson, right? So as a student, he read 2 of these horrible books, and he keeps talking. He's so proud that he read Dostoevsky. He talks about it in his streams. I read Dostoevsky. What Dostoevsky was trying to say, he's looking for meaning in this like emperor's shill of a writer, Dostoevsky. And then of course Russians will look at that, and Russians will be like, oh, this guy, he's ready for recruiting. He's ready for start spewing our Russian nonsense, Russian propaganda. And that's what Jordan Peterson's channel is. You go there, he's talking about psychology, which is his primary field. That's what he should focus on and not talk about anything else ever. But he's peppering Russian propaganda in a mix there. And same thing with Trump. Trump is a recruit. He's been recruited. He loves Russia. He loves Russian ballet. Whatever they say, the white Russian women, which are Russia is not a white country. It's the biggest lie.
I started doing ballet when I was young in Kharkiv, but then because I couldn't go much higher in the level in Ukraine. The next steps will be go to Vaganova Academy in St. Petersburg, which is like top of the top notch, says Russian propaganda, now that I learned that. But I mean, it's huge. It's a huge deal. And actually, the one time I've ever been to Russia was in St. Petersburg to get accepted to, and I got accepted to Vaganova Ballet Academy. Thank God I didn't go, because my life would look a lot more different than it is today. And I mean, I always
you would be spreading some Russian propaganda now instead of defending freedom in the West.
Like their ballerinas, Russian ballerinas, it's straight up propaganda. Like that's their kind of. Also, it's like escorting services and all that, But yeah, and
escort.
Got lucky and immigrated to Canada, and then I went to a proper ballet school, not some insane Russian, but yeah.
But that's impressive to be accepted there, because not everyone can make it. The trials are intense. You have to be very talented, very athletic. I didn't know that you're a full proper ballerina, Slavie. You're full of surprises.
Yeah, I was a professional ballet dancer all throughout school. And yeah, I was, I think I got accepted when I was 6 to Vaganova.
Huh.
No, 8.
Okay.
Very young, but because Ukraine, my ballet school in Ukraine and Kharkiv got me like really prepared to that level to get accepted. Um, I was good to go. But then, thank God, um, I didn't.
It's good that we still have you. Russia does have some kind of pull with people, right? And it's been through trial and error. Russia is always seeing what Westerners like. They don't quite understand the West, but okay, they see, okay, Westerners like to read. Okay, let's see what books we have. Let's put it out. Which books get response? That's the ones we're gonna push. Okay, they like ballet. Let's have the biggest ballet. They like movies. Now Russia is really investing heavily into movies, you know, because Westerners like movies and Westerners like cartoons. So watch out. You're gonna see like cartoons, Russian cartoons, you're gonna see Russian movies, all of them gonna have subliminal messages about, oh, Russia, yeah, we do genocide every once in a while, but we like balalaika, we're happy people.
It has a name. It's kind of the soft power thing, and Russia knows how to do it very very well. But United States and the West does it too. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
United States had a soft power as well, which is the best way to influence. You go influence with culture. We had it in the form of USAID, but the Trump and Musk. Musk is in love with Russia as well. They did Putin a huge favor, and they completely destroyed United States soft power. We don't have soft power anymore. The thousands of journalists, the theater performances that we were supporting across the world, a kind of research which is not just soft power, but it was like a cancer research as well that USAID was involved in. It's deemed unnecessary right now by our president and people who work for him. Like it was Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. Of course, if we don't have soft power in the world, if we're not spending $17,000 on a ballet in Ireland, or like a theater performance, and you save that $17,000 and you can send it to billionaires over here in the United States. But that destroys our soft power, which we completely like. And by the way, everywhere where we had soft power in the form of USAID, which we don't have, Russia was ecstatic that we got rid of it. And all those holes are now plugged by Russian and Chinese soft power. So good job, Elon Musk. Good job, Trump, for destroying our power and giving it over freely to Russia and to China right now.
by the way, Johnny, before we get too far away, and we're gonna get into the news very soon, but I wanted to ask you. Um, so you interview people in Los Angeles. What is your biggest takeaway? Do they support Ukraine? What do they know about Ukraine? Mostly, kind of the consensus.
The consensus is people support Ukraine. People don't want Ukraine is a clear victim in this conflict. It's a very straightforward issue. Most people are not too involved into politics. It takes a lot of mental gymnastics for you to see that there's this huge country who was like Russia, who was getting ready for war, who viciously attacked, who is doing all these atrocities, and then it attacked a country that posed no threat to them. Ukraine. It takes a lot of mental gymnastics to start sympathizing with Russia, which Russia is happy to provide. I mean, they infiltrated MAGA. MAGA will do a lot of this gymnastics. I only met one MAGA guy in all this time that I.
You're lucky.
Um,
You're
uh,
so lucky.
yeah, most of the people are. Maybe I go to the wrong areas of Los Angeles,
Well,
but
also,
I would
it's
love.
not very like MAGA. Maybe if you go to more like Huntington Beach, there's more right wing. people there, but Los Angeles itself is very much blue and democratic.
Maybe that's where I'll go. I am trying so hard to find these MAGA people. The
Or like
most I
Middle California, like Bakersfield, like rural kind of, I guess mid California. That's
I
where.
usually don't go out that far out. The most I found is like a person is like kind of like, oh, I don't like war. Of course, Ukraine, it's so sad. Russia is a bad guy, but we should take care of ourselves right now. We should not get involved. Russia is what people don't understand. Russia is not going to let you not to get involved. Russia will come here and they will destroy you. You cannot afford to not to get
They're
involved.
already
It doesn't
here, though.
exist.
They're already here. The West is fighting a war right now. Just because you can't see it doesn't make it any less dangerous.
Absolutely, they're here. They're not leaving. They are out to destroy United States, the Western world, everything we've been building, all our institutions, our courts, our justice systems, our elections. They will destroy everything. You cannot stay here. Oh, let's just take care of our thing. They will put your house on fire.
Yeah. Also,
You don't have an option.
no matter how friendly Putin and Trump get, Russians always will hate United States and everything that it stands for. It's like embedded in them. It's the greatest enemy. So yeah, I just have to be
I
very
think
careful.
it's up to us, Slavi. Like it's up to like people like you and me to explain, to Americans and to Westerners, to anyone who would listen to this, the
There's
thinking
a,
of
there's a,
Russia.
there's another story that it hasn't been talked about much. It's been buried, but when like there's a lot of Russians that came into United States illegally through that border, a lot, and a lot of those guys are military age, good to fight. So you never know when they're probably in place to do whatever operation is needed. Just got to wait for the Kremlin. And that is very, very scary. I mean, the sabotage attacks and everything. What? I forget. Because of Elon Musk, there was another sector that got cut in United States, and it was specifically to look for, like, I guess, terrorist attacks in United States, and they cut it out. And I'm like,
Yeah, because you can send that money to billionaires instead of, watching out for terrorist attacks. Come on.
of course. There's another question. Oh yeah, I did want to say, if you do meet in somebody in the West that supports Russia, and I always say this, they're probably one of these three things. Number one, a psychopath, pedophile. Number two, extremely stupid. Or number three, both of those, A and B. There's no like in between or anything else. You gotta
It
be
takes,
psychotic
yeah.
to support Russia and not mentally there. And usually, I'm right, because only pieces of shit support Russia. They're not good people, turn out. Even if they seem nice, they're most likely some sort of a criminal or psychotic psychopath.
And I also want to kind of build on that point is people don't really understand what Russia is. When everything is said and done, what people think is like, oh, Russians are like us. It's just they live a little poorer. They just like Putin. It's a completely different mentality. Americans will never understand Russians. Like what we're trying to do is through snippets of information, because we understand what Russians are, and Russians understand what Russians are, but they will never divulge that information. They will never be explained or understood. It's very hard sometimes to, on a large scale, to explain that there is a very interesting country, very unique, unlike anything you've seen, unlike anything you experienced, who really hate you, who will destroy you, according to them. They will never stop. Um, and they, and at the same time, Russia is presenting a very kind of a likable facade, a showcase Russia. There's a showcase city like Moscow and St. Petersburg, right? And then there's the rest of Russia, and there's a showcase Russia. Most of the people are presented with the showcase Russia. They say, oh, it's just a ballet, it's all this literature or music, or right now they're really heavily investing into movies and cartoons. I would rather die than let my child watch a Russian cartoon. That's a you know like a that's gonna destroy a human being at the beginning of their life. Make sure, like, if you see like a Russian movie or a Russian cartoon, turn it off. You know, it's it, they're coming to destroy you. Why would you want to hear anything they're gonna say? And what you're gonna see is you're gonna see a very likable, a very kind of like a likable image. You know, like a lot of people identify with Putin because he's white. He's the right kind of mafia boss. He's like us. Magas may say he's Christian. You know, a Christian PDF file. That's a very interesting combination. You know. By the way, Slavie, are you able to see the chat? Do we have anything
Yeah,
in the
I
chat that we can respond to?
I'm chatting in the chat. By the way, guys, if you have questions, send them in. We'll answer them. So I haven't found any like specific questions yet, but now that you guys know, shoot, I guess. I guess
I've been keeping tabs on what's been happening. Do you want me to read the notes that I make?
oh, sure, that's great.
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Man,
Should we start with the good or the bad?
let's do the good first and then the bad.
You want the good first and then have the bad taste of the bad at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, it's up to you. I can do the good news. Of course,
Yeah.
the good news comes from Ukraine. And that's another reason to support Ukraine. Like the Ukraine military are the only ones who are doing everything right. If you need to learn how to speak, how to do good negotiations with Russians, refer to Ukrainian military. They're the ones who are doing this successfully and correctly. So Ukraine has unrolled Flamingo. Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah.
Flamingo rocket. How awesome is that? Like, Russia is like bombarding Ukraine every day, destroying like hospitals, like civilian buildings, everything, just covering. And Ukraine is innovating. Ukraine is building. Like, they just rolled out this amazing long-range rocket capable of carrying 1,100 kilograms of explosives. So, for example, American Tomahawk missile, which Ukraine is asking, please give us, but of course, Pete Hegseth has more important places to send weapons right now. Tomahawk missile carries like 450 kilograms, right? So this one carries 1,100. It's a twice as big as a very powerful American missile. It goes 1,000 kilometers. It covers a huge radius. Of course, Russia drew the circle from Kiev, and that circle encompasses France and Britain, to show like, look, maybe Ukraine is gonna attack Britain for some reason. But again, Russian propaganda is kind of aimed for dumb people, for stupid people. But of course, we understand that this missile is gonna be hitting targets in Russia. So that's amazing news. Kind of like the Ukrainian ingenuity and innovation. It's a very interesting rocket. It looks kind of like vintage style, but it's full of latest electronics. It's very precise, up to 45 feet precision, which is very good for this type of load and this type of distance, because you're flying 1,000 kilometers and then you're gonna hit the target within 45 feet. That's just amazing. And by the way, Russia is losing it over this, and just in time for Ukrainian Independence Day.
How
What more
funny
do you
that
want?
like now it's like Russia is like it's scared of a flamingo. So Ukraine did it on purpose, named it like that because it's hilarious in the first place. But they're like, there's a funny meme going around that you know, Pirates of Caribbean when with Johnny Depp when somebody the captain goes, "You're by far the worst pirate ever." So Russia goes, "This is by far the worst missile ever." And then,
Right, right, right.
"Well, you have heard of me."
Right, 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 exactly. uh, you know what, because everything is kind of hectic today, I didn't even spread the word that we're doing the stream today. And because this is the first time we're doing this, I don't even know how to do this. How do I share channel? Okay, I can just share channel, right? And
Yeah,
just tell people,
yeah.
hey,
Well, why don't you do that?
everyone.
And I'll do some news, the latest on what's happening to the security guarantees, what is being talked about at the moment, and where we're at. I saw you guys previously to the stream. You guys, there was a lot of conversation about these security guarantees. So let's break it down. Uh, this is a guarantee package and now has 5 layers to it. European ground force, US, possible US air ISR, funding channels, and long-term bilateral pacts and sanctions. Um, so it also includes Article 5, like trigger, I guess, and European Coalition of the Willing for post-deal kind of stabilization, which is European troops on the ground, and a sky shield, and it's a concept that is being floated around if needed, and I'd say so. Yes, it is needed, and 10-year bilateral pacts with NATO, EU, and sanctions, keep sanctioning tied to kind of the behavior of uh, Russia, depending how it goes. Uh, so European countries, this European of the not European of the Willing, Coalition of the Willing. It's led by UK, France, and Estonia. They're willing to send companies of troops for peacekeeping, not combat, but kind of being in the back doing logistics. And Germany is hesitating. We'll see what happens. But Estonia, they offer to send 100 to 200 soldiers. Germany, as I said, the debate is underway. The chancellor wants more clear mandate. And most analysts say, and I have to agree, that tens of thousands may be needed for these kind of operations and to actually keep the peace, because we know Russia and they'll fuck around. So
Russia is never gonna approve anything like this.
yeah, yeah. Of course, they're already have Sadkor Slavrov on American television, like saying crazy shit. But I'm just saying, like, how much is it coalition of the willing? Because it's not very willing to me. It doesn't sound much,
Listen,
help.
we'll take whatever we need. Of course, like Estonia, right, is leading them.
Yeah.
What a, be like if you don't want to, you have a choice. You can be brave like Ukraine or be brave like Estonia. Look at this little country. They were the first one to dart out of Soviet Union. They're the first one to call a spade a spade. They always call out Russian crimes. They're very brave in their language. They're calling everything exactly as it is. They're calling genocide a genocide. They're calling a murder a murder. We can all learn from being like Estonia, and it's a good thing that they're leading with France, with Great Britain. They're on the right side of history, on the right side of events. That's exactly what they should be doing, and we'll take it. As Ukrainians, they'll take it. And Russia will never agree to that. But you never ask a murderer, is it okay if we make it a little harder for you to murder? They always say no. I like the easy way. I like when I just come in, there's no resistance. I can just murder away, take the land, take whatever I want. You never ask a maniac.
That's why it's so insane, these kind of negotiations, and always, even from the start of full scale, I thought it was very weird that the West had to kind of be like, is it okay if we send these weapons? And Russia would be like, no, like we'll get Germany with the Taurus. And
of course Russia is gonna say no.
Yeah, but this like check in, if it's okay, that was wild to me. I never understood that. And the announcement, wow, yeah. So Russia literally controlled the narrative and everything that the Ukraine was fighting with.
Western people don't understand Russia. Americans don't understand Russians. They will never understand the way it's going. If you listen to Russia, if you listen to Trump, to MAGA, to influencers who like Russia, you will never know what Russia really is. You're going to be fooled. You're going to be in the dark until the moment that knife is going to be in your back. And then you will know, but then it's going to be too late. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, Slavie and I, and doing this right now before that knife is in your back, before it's too late. While we still have the greatest military, with a very weak president, who kind of meets with a leader of a gas station and PDF file and tells him, oh, listen, this is...
Now it's a broke gas station, thank God, but it needs to be even more broke.
That's more good news. That was on my list of good news. That's more good news from Ukraine. That's another reason to support Ukraine. If you guys don't like bad news, if you guys don't like, this, like, I don't know what to think, I don't know where to go, support Ukraine. It's such an easy to take position. It's a right position. It makes you feel good. You don't have to do mental gymnastics to understand, oh, why is this cannibal eating this corpse? Maybe there's like Dostoevsky ballet, this movie that I've seen with Russians. You don't have to do any of that. Supporting Ukraine is free. It's easy. It makes you feel good. And you're going to get this good news every day, like the Slavie just mentioned. Slavie, let's talk about this. This is great.
Go with, this is the sanctions or?
Well, yeah, you just said that, I'm so sorry, I got lost.
Yeah, I mean, Russia's economy is cracking, and they are
right. Yeah, the Druzhba pipeline, right? Is that what you were saying? Druzhba pipeline?
Did you say Jewish pipeline?
Druzhba.
Oh, Druzhba. Okay, I'm like, what the hell?
Sorry.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
Do you want me to say it, or do you want to say it?
I already presented it in my video that came out yesterday. By the way, guys, check it out. I put it in the chat. So, and I kind of go over about a lot of these news. Um, Please do check it out, though.
That's
It's
right.
important. Um,
Subscribe to Slavie. She gets you with the latest good important news, with the good news. This is really good stuff. So while Russia is saying how Ukraine is now defeated, like it's only 2 weeks left, it's only 100 days left, it's the last Independence Day for Ukraine this year, 2025. Ukraine attacked the oil pipeline, which the gas station cannot function
they've actually
without.
been continuously attacking it. There's a lot of different,
Good,
but yeah, it's been
amazing.
continuously, like even yesterday it got hit. I was actually going back and forth into if I should kind of highlight the story because it's good, but it has kind of negative. I don't know, it could be make things worse for Ukraine because Orban of Hungary, he wrote a
Oh,
letter to Trump, like this letter. Let me see if I can pull it
I'm
up.
gonna cry. That letter is full of tears. Let me get
Yeah,
my crying
I
crying
have it.
face on.
Here's the letter.
My
Because
my sad crying face.
okay, let's read it. From PM Viktor Orban, 5 days ago, just before the historic meet. Guys, get out the little violins. Thank you.
I'm
5 days
so
ago,
sad.
just before the historic meeting between President Trump and Putin in Alaska, Ukraine carried out drone strikes on the Druzhba oil pipeline in Russia. This pipeline supplies Hungary and Slovakia, two countries that have no other means of importing crude oil. Lie, they do. Hungary supports Ukraine with electricity and petrol. Okay. In
They're
return,
selling it.
yeah. In return, they bomb pipeline that supplies us. Very unfriendly move. That's my favorite part. We wish President Trump every success in his pursuit for peace. Trump answered with like a squiggly note, saying, Victor, I do not like hearing this. I am very angry about it. Tell Slovakia you're a great friend, Donald. Squiggly line.
Perfect. I love this response from Trump. I wish he will always respond like this, like with no substance. Like,
Yeah, I guess that's good. Because at first I was like, oh, he even replied, but I
because
guess
like when we need help from United States, that's like the response we get. Like Ukrainians, they're like, listen, like we're being bombed over here, and he says, oh, I'm so angry. This Vladimir, stop. Like no substance, no nothing. Oh, we might do sanctions on Russia in about 100 days, unless like I change my mind. Um, which means like, okay, Vladimir, you have 100 days to conquer Ukraine. Okay, you got it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is the nature of the war right now, right? Ukraine can destroy Russia in a month. In a month, Russia is going to be no more. It's going to be all these 80 different countries. Russia is not a uniform country. There's no ethnicity called Russian. There is no. There's a Ruske ethnicity within Russia, which Russia keeps that very secret from the Western world. They don't want the Westerners to know that there's ethnicity within Russia called Ruske, the Ukrainian-looking people, and they're trying. Yeah. So yeah, and Ukraine can destroy Russia in a month. Give Ukraine the proper weapons. They attack these pipelines. They cripple Russian economy. They do what the West is promising to do. They'll do it in a month. Russia is crumbling. Russia is collapsing. Russia is always collapsing. Their only way to survive as any empire is to grow bigger and bigger. So far, they're very successful at this, but we have to stop it, of course.
Also, Hungary and Slovakia, they can do the crude oil from, I think, through Croatia. And
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
they have.
millions of ways for them to get oil. They choose to sponsor the killing of Ukrainians.
Well, it's
They,
also they want to be cheap to Russia, and there's a lot of money kind of going back and forth there, which they won't get that much in a. They will lose more, or don't won't get that much in any other deal, but because they would rather make money on a genocide, they would terrible people.
well, I have a proposition.
Hungary is
Yeah,
now the most corrupt in EU. I have no idea how the hell it's still in the European Union. That's so wild to me. Recently, they released, the palace that Orban lives in, and it's very close to what Putin's palace looks like. And it's insane how the hell to get that money. And Orban also he controls, just like in Russia, all of the media. There's almost no pushback. And Hungarians itself, like very nice people, like they're not really paying attention to it. And they're not like with Orban and what he's doing, but he has full control over totalitarian control over Hungary and the country, unfortunately.
yeah, and for people who are wondering why is Hungary so pro-Russian, why is Slovakia, or at least Slovakian prime minister, so pro-Russian, it's not an accident. This goes back to the Soviet Union. In 1956, Soviet Union against all just viciously attacked and occupied Hungary. And in 1968, 12 years later, they viciously attacked and occupied Czechoslovakia of the time. So at the time of occupations, Russians did what they do. They cheated, they stole, they murdered, they instilled their own puppet governments over there. They were never going to leave. However, after they attacked um, Afghanistan, which is like a Muslim country, and they did a genocide in Afghanistan. I guess the Muslim country, Saudi Arabia, decided enough is enough, and they turned the oil pumps all the way to the max, and they brought the oil price down to $10 per barrel at that time. And just like that, the Soviet Union collapsed. We can do the same things today. So look what Russia is doing. They occupy Hungary. They just destroy their government. They recruit a bunch of people. Orban is a Russian sympathizer. Think about this concept for a second. He's sympathizing with children of people who came to kill and rape and murder his grandfathers and fathers, but now he has all this appreciation of Russian culture, probably read Dostoevsky as well, probably seen Russian ballet, Orban, and right now he's on Russian side. Same thing with Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia was just brutally attacked in 1968. Russians came with tanks on beautiful streets of Prague and other cities. They instilled their puppet governments, and they recruited a bunch of people during that time. All these people have grown up, probably reading, because Russia always attacks with language, with books, with right now it's movies and cartoons. Don't ever watch anything from Russia or with Russian in it. The Hollywood is like a Tourette's syndrome. They cannot make a freaking movie without mentioning a Russian mafia or anything like that. Such a bad taste.
Hollywood hates Russia, and I've had these conversations a lot here. Hollywood can't stand Russia. Thank God for that. Well, one
Yeah,
thing
and then they present Russians with the Oscars.
I was getting to that. That was actually by like a Gazprom company that got them there. Not all of them are like what happened with whatever that movie was. What was it? Anora. Um,
I'm never gonna watch it. I encourage nobody watch that piece of crap movie. It
yeah.
doesn't matter if it wins every Oscar in the world. Just don't watch it.
So what's problematic with it? I don't think anyone here is, dying to watch anything from Russian culture. But what that movie specifically does, it glamorizes the kind of mafia and romanticizes Russian mafia, and um, but Hollywood, like some of Hollywood's biggest directors, hate Russia, and when they do put if you find Russia in a movie, you will always find how bad Russians look when it's depicted by Hollywood. And it took me a while to understand this, like what they were doing, because I was like, why are they always putting Russians in movies? Like it's so annoying. But how they paint Russians and everything, it's not bad. I'm definitely I caught up with their narratives and everything. Just be careful when it's the movie is like specifically shot in Russia, because like you have like there was a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie that was shot in Russia. Those movies, yeah, I mean you're supporting like Russian um, culture and everything when it's like that. But they pay big money for this, I guess, soft power. You can call it big power now, hard power. That's never mind. Scratch that. The hard power. But
Russia, yeah, Russia is paying for all of this. Russia is paying for mentioning in movies,
so
for mentioning.
I know how they does this. Uh, an ex-boyfriend of mine, he's a director, and it's actually Gazprom that kind of funnels money into Hollywood and gets these directors who are looking to get funded uh, to do movies, and then they're like, okay, we'll give you X amount of money, but you have to, do a Nora with like the Russian culture. Sorry, bit my tongue. Russian
Be
culture,
careful.
or they'll, yeah, there's
We should say
Russian.
at the end of this stream, no Ukrainians were harmed during filming of this stream.
Yeah. Uh,
Sorry.
but yeah, it's interesting, but they they do funnel money into Hollywood. We just have to be careful. But most of Hollywood, thank God, can't stand Russia. They don't want to do business with Russian directors or with Russian production. Um, that's what I say. When they're putting Russians or depicting Russians, especially when they're British actors depicting Russians, that's the best. It's the best because they fuck around with them so much, give them a horrible image, which is comes out to be their true face in the end.
I'm still against it, because Russians, they don't care if Hollywood hates. Most Hollywood hates. They don't care if most United States hate Russia. They're gonna find somebody who likes Russia. Most Europe hates Russia. Most United States
But
hates
I see
Russia.
with Hollywood movies is Western audiences, so it's not that. This is not for Russians. These films are for Western audiences. So I think like if Russians are looking bad, people are not gonna like Russians. I don't. That's my kind of way of thinking.
So my take is, they will find somebody who actually likes them, and then they will pay for that content, and they will drive a wedge into Hollywood, like they drive a wedge into a United States government right now. Most of the congressmen and House representatives, they understand how dangerous Russia is, but they found some who don't, or who don't care, or who would rather make money today and then worry about future later, or for our children or whatever. Let them deal with Russia when it's here, you know. Um, and so they will find a way, they will always Russians are very daring and persistent. They're relentless. They will always keep paying. They will always keep putting Russia out there. And also, what some people might think, oh, that's a bad image of Russia. Russians like that image. That's the image they'd rather have.
Yes.
They want to have like this gangster and like this crazy. They like this image of crazy Russian. It's not.
Because it's their true face. It's their true face.
It's not even their true face. Their true face is a drunk nobody who loves their leader and who enjoys one day getting his AK rifle and come and destroy some other country. That's their true face.
That's a good
Uh,
point. Thank you. By the
but
way,
they are.
I have a super chat shout out. Thank you so much, SSW Customs, for your modding skills, but also for the super chats and giving away memberships. You're awesome. But saying the West Coast is best coast, and thank you, Texas. I agree. Yes, and thank you, Texas, for being so shit. Yeah. Do you guys know what's happening right now between California and Texas and like Gavin Newsom? So Texas is to get more seats for Trump. They're redrawing their maps, and that would be very bad for Democrats coming up with in the midterms election this coming November. But what Gavin Newsom from California, so far the only person kind of fighting back, is doing is California is gonna redraw our maps as well. So to keep more seats, I think that's how it works. But that's the gist of it. Pretty epic. Gavin Newsom has been trolling the shit out of MAGA and Trump. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't
He's a
really
man.
we're up on
He's
that
doing the,
debate, but
he's showing us that we can fight. We should fight. Yeah, it's not you cannot just sit and rest right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's happening, and if you just sit idly, you're gonna have a weak president who finds felonious ways of holding on to power, who's gonna destroy everything. They're destroying United States soft power in the form of USAID. He's talking to the leader of a gas station on a peer-to-peer level, like saying like this is a image of strength, a PDF file, a leader of anyway.
what bothers me most, what Trump is doing, and it's a huge threat to America's democracy, and which is, if this goes through, it's gone. But in a democracy, when a party wins, they don't shut out the other party. The other party, the minority party, they still have a voice. What Trump is doing, he is completely silencing Democrats. There's no like pushback. There's no, I guess, like freedom of like thinking of different policies and everything. It's now all just like it has to be this way, and that way. And you're the enemy if you don't agree on this policy. That's not a democracy. That's a dictatorship.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does have all these
And it's not freedom of
signs of
speech.
dictatorship.
Whatever happened to freedom of speech? That when Trump was campaigning, he was all about it. Which I even knew at the time that people are getting fooled if they think that he's so like for free speech. Because like the other side, like even Ukrainians on X, I got silenced there a long time ago. Stopped posting there. My posts weren't getting seen, and now like people are like, I guess, worried about what to say online. So Trump or whatever the administration doesn't deport them if they don't like what you have to say. So it's silencing ideas and free thought, free will as well. But I have to say that keep exercising your brains, guys, and coming up with different ideas and different policies. That's the only way we'll win this and or survive. Because they're
So you
trying to
said,
make the nation dumb, just like in Russia, which I posed this question in the video that came out yesterday. Do we want to live like they do in Russia? Because this is where it's headed. Any ideas or policies that go against this MAGA administration are getting silenced, and it's a threat. It's the enemy. That's not completely not a democracy. There's no freedom, but they're also going after museums. They're revising history. Um, Trump wants to say that slavery wasn't that bad, um, which is wild. When you're starting, this is what Putin does, like revising history according to what he thinks of it. And I don't think Trump knows history very much, but he just doesn't like it. Um, yeah, they're trying to make everything like now they're going like very like too extreme right and trying going way too far of I guess erasing the wokeness. But I mean, history is history. Like what? It's so sad.
yeah, and I mean, obviously you cannot trust anything Trump said during campaign trail, because he said he will release Epstein files, and look at what's happening with that.
So that's interesting on the Epstein files. I learned recently, and I didn't know this, but Epstein actually used to go to Russia quite a bit. Epstein was known to kind of be who he came to be by exchanging information. He was kind of more, I guess, more of a gossiper, though. He wasn't a Russian agent, but he had a lot of information. He used to go to Russia. Russia wants information. They want compromise, and now we have Putin being very, very nice. Sorry, now we have Trump being very, very nice to Putin. I don't think Trump knows what specific compromise Russia has on him, but he knows it's something. So, and now we're here today. So, that's my kind of
Yeah,
reason.
I just learned that that Epstein was doing lots of travel to Russia, and he had all these Russian connections. How interesting.
Yeah, and it was interesting how he would get to Russia. He would so his plane wouldn't get tracked. He would go to like Sweden, park his plane, and take another plane. So that way he was never traced that he was in Russia. So that's interesting as well.
Obviously, somebody who doesn't have to hide, nothing to hide, right?
Yeah. I mean, others are saying I haven't looked too much into it that Epstein was a Mossad agent and all that. I don't know. I focus on Russia mostly. So
We definitely, like, some things we know, some things are kind of conspiracy. We definitely know he was visiting Russia a lot, and he was connected with, like, Russian Kremlin state people there.
it adds up. It adds up. It makes sense. So
I mean, that's like, for some reason, everyone in the US government right now has some kind of Russian connection. Have you heard that Pete Hexted, from his days in college when he was young, he had the mail.ru email account with all the same credentials, same things as he was using for his other accounts?
yeah,
Yeah, that's so weird, because I know about mail.ru, me personally, and I never got it for myself because I'm like thinking, oh, that's way too Russian. I'm not Russian enough. Like I used to like Russia before the war, and I would think, should I get this Russian email? And I wouldn't do it because it's way too Russian, Like, I'm like, no, it's for Russians. I didn't even get it for myself, when my Russian friends were getting it. And Pete Hexted has that email address. That's very interesting. Like, and now he's ahead of our Pentagon, and now the arms that were sent to Ukraine, he redirects them to Israel, to Syria, to other places where, according to him, it's more needed in those other places right now. Of course, Ukraine doesn't need them as urgently. They're only being bombed like with 1,000 missiles per day.
There's also a recent recording of Ghislaine Maxwell saying how much she likes Trump. She's trying to get out of prison, basically. And
she may get her pardon.
Yeah. In exchange for not saying anything. But she's already, confirmed it that Trump was very, what was it?
Nice guy.
Nice guy, and like he never got into anything and stuff like that.
Great person.
Yeah. But
same words Trump says about Putin. Nice guy, great guy.
Yeah, and the recording is very odd. She just keeps saying, "I really like him. I really like him." Like there's nothing. Yeah, it's odd. But let's get back on topic.
She knows what to say. She knows what Trump likes.
Yeah.
Trump is a simple guy.
Yes.
Russians know what to say, and Ghislaine Maxwell knows what to say to Trump. The only people who don't know what to say are Zelensky, European leaders, people with conscience, people with good morals, who are fighting the good fight. Those are the people who have hard time connecting with Trump. The people who are cheating, who are lying, who are grooming young girls, young children, they all know what to say to Trump somehow.
I learned something, and this was recent too, and it was when you're looking at Trump and what Trump does, it's the simplest, like, don't overcomplicate it. It's the most simplest answer usually of why he does things. So
that's a good observation, for sure.
Yeah.
We all need reminding.
Let's get back to Ukraine.
And let me know if anyone's asking any questions in the chat or anything like that. Do you have any more news in Ukraine?
Yeah. Yes.
Ukraine?
Russia struck a U.S.-owned factory in Western Ukraine as a response to how much they like Russia. Just showing their true colors there. This was, I guess, in response to what United States is doing with Ukraine and security guarantees and everything. So see, like, it's so easy for them to go after America. Like there is no real relationship there. But Russia struck a flex facility in Zakarpattia, which is far, guys, from Russia. It's on Western Ukraine side.
Yeah, it's on the border with Poland. It's like way out. Russia never strikes there.
Yeah, they really went out of their way to make sure what it is that they're hitting.
And that's what you get, you being friends with Russia, until Trump invited Putin on American soil, Russians would not dare to attack American factory. They come to United States soil, they make fool of United States president, they show how weak he is, they come back to Russia and they attack American facility. That's what you get for being friends with Russia.
Yeah, and Flex was U.S. property. We're not sure if they had Americans working in there, but Flex is a U.S. property. And they knew that.
There you go. Another victory for Trump. Trump was right about everything. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I bought a hat, but I don't wear hats. I was gonna thought maybe we'll anyway. We can leave it for the next stream over. But I'll show it to you right now.
You're gonna show it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you?
Wait. I don't see it. Hold on. Oh, he's it's a good hat.
America, fuck yeah. uh, yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah, that's a new development. And also during the same time, Russia has done something they've never done before as well. So here's what Americans should understand. You invite Putin to United States soil. You make him play our president like a weakling that he is, and Russia does something they've never done before. They're getting bolder. They're getting more daring. Uh, like they attacked U.S. property. They know exactly what they're attacking. The flax factory, right? And they also attacked a hospital with uh, you know, it was Ukrainian soldiers that were there. And usually, always throughout the war, when Russia attacks a hospital, they always say, "Oh, it's not a hospital; it's like a recruiting facility or like a military training facility." But for the first time ever, they actually said, "Oh, it's a hospital," because they're not afraid. They got what they came for here in United States. They understand that they're not afraid of United States, and they can do whatever they want. They don't care. They admitted that they hit a hospital for the first time in a war.
Yep. Uh, Sorry. I'm looking for news from my news brief.
Did you know? And this is kind of interesting as well. Um, well, Trump, of course, didn't say anything about United States property being hit by Russian missile, which is why would American president say
No,
anything about that?
Trump is fuming over it. That's
Did he
what
say something?
I haven't seen what he said, but there's a lot of articles that Trump is just getting angrier or angrier. Guys,
Well,
what's happening right now, and I say that in the video, it's a tug of war. Every day is going to be different. Um, one day Trump will be, kissing Russia's ass, and then the next day, EU or Ukraine will do something, talk of a deal. Then Trump will be, more leaning towards Ukraine and be mad at Russia. Russia will attack, um, with missiles. They'll attack Ukraine, and then Trump won't like it, and then he'll yell at Russia. Then Ukraine will do something like the Orban getting upset. Then it's a constant tug of war. It's a very high stakes tug of war, like insanely. I think it's the most high stakes game of tug of war in known history. It's insane what is being done, but and what's scary is for how much longer can this go on? Because man,
we we cannot even ask that question. Ukraine can destroy Russia in 1 month. I'm confident of this. With Ukrainian ingenuity, with the way they strike Russian pipelines, completely like destroying any kind of way for Russia to make money, Ukraine Ukraine is beating Russia as we speak. They're gaining more ground. They're still hitting Russian pipelines, destroying the any kind of Russia can make money. But imagine if we give Ukraine everything that they need, you know, with no exceptions.
yeah,
Ukraine will
and
destroy
also
Russia.
it's also manpower as well. Ukraine doesn't have that much, so and there's very little rotations, so Ukrainians are tired, and I just hope they put boots on the ground as fast as possible, and that absolutely needs to happen, even if it's not right on the front line, but in doing the logistics,
In the back, yeah.
forces, something that gives Ukrainians a break, get their strengths back together. And yeah, I don't like seeing that there's some countries has still hesitant about it, but it's the only way. So either do it faster, make up your mind, or don't be part of it. But what things will just get worse, and you know that this is the choice you have to make. So make the right choice now. Do it. But I guess
Absolutely.
they're still listening to Russia. I had it pulled up what Lavrov said. Horse, what he's been saying in terms of these security guarantees for Ukraine. And I mean, you guys can only imagine what. And this is the minimum ask, and it's same thing for Ukraine to give up territory, no NATO, demilitarized Ukraine. They're not budging on anything, even if they say that, oh yeah, absolutely no boots on the ground of any kind, of course. But what I'm saying, like, it's also this. The West has this obsession with both sides, and it's gotta stop. Like, why the why are
There
we
is no
listening to
both sides in a genocide.
yeah, why they're inviting Lavrov on? I think it was like even like uh, either CNN. It wasn't CNN. It was like some NBC or something, uh, doing an interview with Lavrov. There's no like moral equivalence here, and this both sidism of the West. It's the most like unnerving thing.
It's gotta stop. I agree with you 120%. Both sides, it's like inviting a cannibal to a meeting and like, oh, we're trying to stop eating people. Would you agree to this? And the cannibal is like, no. It's like, well, let's listen to him. Let's,
Yeah,
let's hear what he has to say. Is it tasty for you? Like, why do you keep eating people? Is it like more nutritious? Like, let's listen to both sides.
yeah. This both sidism is bullshit, if you ask me. And Russia is very good at negotiating. I mean, they're a mafia state. They're a terrorist state. That's what they do. Um,
Yeah, Putin is a KGB operative. Right now, it's called FSB, but it's the same thing. It's just a rebranding. Putin is very good at recruiting, very good at negotiating, especially if you have somebody weak opposite of him. Some weakling who you just tell him, "Oh, you look nice. You're such a strong president." And by the way, those elections that you lost, it was a fake election. you know,
yeah.
that's all you need to say to Trump.
Anyway,
And
I finally found Russia's conditions, and now that China, I guess, has spoken. But this is Russia demands Syria-style conditions. Kiev must give up Donbass, scrap NATO path. Same
yeah,
story over again, except no Western troops. Lavrov
no.
says talks without Russia are road to nowhere, but without Ukraine is somewhere. Okay.
And by the
Beijing,
way, yeah,
Beijing. I guess they they declined the kind of the guarantor role, but they do welcome these peace talks. But um, this is Kremlin
Beijing, Beijing
absolutely.
are beneficiaries of Russia-Ukraine war. They are supporting Russia fully, not because they like Russia, they hate Russia. In fact, Chinese people know what Russians are and who Russians are much better than Americans or Westerners.
Yeah, their
Chinese understand
relationship
who they're dealing with.
their relationship isn't all that great. But China is, I mean, it's always been China. They're very sneaky. They'll always do whatever benefits them. They will never go out of their way And China has big goals right now. They want to be the ruling power of the world, and they want
Yeah,
to
they're
destroy
ready.
economically or whichever way possible. They're looking at Taiwan. Most likely, they'll invade Taiwan. So they're watching.
Yeah. And by the way, Russia is helping them for that attack. Russia, from everything they learned with war in Ukraine, Russia has this a web of drones, sea drones, that they you can coordinate them at the same time, and they're very good for attacking an island nation. So they specifically developed it for China, and China now has this technology, which was battle tested it was originally invented by Ukrainians, but Russians copied it. It's been battle tested in Ukraine, and now China has the benefit of a new and modern battle tested technology, which the West doesn't have right now. Because like a lot of Western weapons that the West is sending to Ukraine cannot use right now, because the conditions on the battlefield are changing so fast that everything that the Western donors and sponsors and volunteers are sending, it has to be modified for the war as it is right now. All the drones are not gonna fly right now. It's all new technology, which everything is changing super fast. Everything that the West has just doesn't work in a modern warfare. And instead of being worried, you want to negotiate with Russia, and Russia is what they're doing. They're taking this tested technology, and they're sending it directly to China. They're sending it to North Korea.
Now, that being said, now I'm seeing that China is ready to send peacekeepers to Ukraine under United Nations authorization. No, thanks. This is very dangerous.
Yeah,
The
no thanks, exactly.
China will, I mean, they'll spy in Ukraine, and in case of kind of
That's crazy, right? Like, Germany is not sure if they want to send. Germany, you are in danger right now, and they're not sure. And China is sure. China are gonna send.
I mean, they will
Believe
clearly
me.
take the pro-Russian position instead of a neutral one. Like, that much is clear.
And I think we should briefly touch on why there's so much chaos and resistance to like doing the right thing in Europe and United States. Why nobody there's no country that's like fully like supporting Ukraine, like Estonia. Like everybody's got like United States. They're not sure should they support Ukraine or Russia. Germany is not sure should they support Ukraine and Russia. In every country, there's a severe resistance to helping Ukraine, and the reason for that is because Russia is controlling a lot of the information space, and uh, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X. It's all controlled by Russian information warfare that Russia is doing. Unfortunately, a lot of people in Germany, they open their TikTok, they open their X accounts, and they're bombarded with Russian information, misinformation. And then when it's time for them to vote, they go and they say, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't support Ukraine." Maybe they already kind of preconditioned for these mental gymnastics that, oh, maybe Russia is justified in its war. Maybe Russia is not so bad. They're Christian, they're white like us. Maybe we shouldn't um, make it worse by helping Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that information warfare is ongoing, and we should all think about what we're reading online, what we're exposed to every day. Right now, Russia is even using AI. They're making videos of things that have never happened, but they're putting narratives behind it, like, look what Ukrainians are doing, like, why are you supporting this, and stuff like that.
What else is what Russia is doing with AI? They're making the like AI models like ChatGPT dirty. So what they'll do, they'll flood the internet with like fake websites with their information, um, with the wrong information, with the propaganda, and they'll make like hundreds and thousands of those websites, and AI will pick up on that. So that's why I call it kind of they dirty
Exactly.
the and I've actually I've noticed that in ChatGPT, um, but you have to be very know what like you're looking for, because if I would miss it like if I wouldn't know better like very easily.
I
So
read an article that up to 30% of all AI responses right now, when you do the search, are littered with Russian propaganda.
yeah,
So they're just destroying, AI right now as well. Because AI, it's not it's just an engine. It's just a machine.
they
They
have a
see what
whole
articles come
agency.
up.
They have a whole agency for this. It's called Doppelganger, and that's what they do. They release a shitload of fake websites, and these websites they look very much like Ukrainian, like United 24. They go hard, like they make the like a mock-up of it, just with propaganda.
Yeah.
With like CNN, it looks very realistic. It's it's getting harder and harder. Like when, damn, it really
Yeah,
worries.
we always have to be vigilant about what Russians are saying and doing online, because every time you pick up the phone, that's a direct line from Russia to your brain. And they're using it like just ruthlessly. It's everywhere right now. Under each video online that you're going to see, they put information everywhere, including like New York Times, New York Post, Washington Post, everywhere. Elon Musk is doing a lot of it. They control, like they're grooming a lot of important personalities. That will repeat this stuff. Like Elon Musk's father was welcomed to Russia to go and. They had him as a speaker in Russia. What Elon Musk's father has something important to say to Russians, it doesn't matter, because after that, Elon Musk's father is going to speak with Elon Musk, and he's going to say, "Oh, son, Russia is not so bad. They like me very much. They told me they like you. We should like be nice to Russia, like." And then you can see that Elon Musk is the greatest spreader of misinformation online, according to his own AI, because his own AI analyzes what Elon Musk is posting, and he's posting just Russian propaganda willy nilly. And same thing goes to all these accounts that you're going to be exposed to. Every time when you're picking up your phone, you have to be very careful, because it's just flooded with Russian propaganda.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is that in the West, nobody trusts mainstream media anymore, and I understand why. And which makes it up to us, independent journalism, to break those narratives.
I trust mainstream media a lot more. Of course, Russia gets their say in all of these platforms, but most of the mainstream stream media are okay. They're not too bad, especially if it's a Western school of journalism. If it's somewhere where they have democratic elections, most of that information is fine. But of course, Russia is interested in destroying our trust and confidence into any of our institutions. Russia doesn't want you to trust your government, to trust your president, to trust your party. Like they say, oh, maybe your party is not kosher, not everything is good over there. Your media is corrupt, your government is corrupt, your police is corrupt, your army is corrupt. That's what Russia is trying to make us feel, so we don't trust our own government, our countries, so we would not even protect it when the time comes from invasion. Because if it's all corrupted, what does it matter if Russia comes over and invades it at the end of the day?
Yeah, you're right, and I agree with you. My personal problem with mainstream media is that they don't do like the actual truth. They don't paint the picture of what the truth is, because the stories that they decide to do are, well, whatever gets the click. So it's the narrative. The biggest narratives get to be highlighted and not the actual truth of what's going on. So people in the West, in the United States, don't get the full picture. And obviously, I'm talking about when it has to do with the war in Ukraine. Um, how many mainstream media outlets do you see doing the news about stolen kids that Russia stole? Some do. It's picking up because it's been, one of the main topics that Zelensky has been uh, coming, bringing forward, because that's the number one step to peace, is getting our people back and our kids. But now, see, because people are talking about it, now they're doing stories about it. But before that, oh my gosh, no one except Ukrainian media was talking about it. And yeah, it's all about narratives these days. Whatever gets the click, it doesn't really
Right
matter.
now, yeah, right now there's a big, like, the push is like, don't trust anything like official media, official, like, government official points. Like, the true information is like hidden. Like, it's all about conspiracy theories. It's all about not trusting the official story, the official narrative, the official anything. And that's why, entertainers like Joe Rogan, he just invites the next craziest person, the next charlatan, and they just talk about, like, the least plausible thing, and they kind of discuss it in a way of, oh, it's probably true because the mainstream media says it's not true, so that might be true, or whatever. I'm just asking questions, like Joe Rogan likes to say. you know and that gives rise to these crazy theories, and people cling on to them, like QAnon. Are you familiar with QAnon?
Of course.
Yeah, like that would not be possible without first priming the minds of the readers and listeners. Oh, okay, you cannot trust with anything, official.
By the way,
Here is the unofficial.
QAnon comes from Russia, because
Yeah,
Russians live on these conspiracy theories for a long time, because they don't trust their government, so they've developed this like insane level of thinking with the tinfoil hats. I mean, yeah, and so
can,
this
can,
QAnon, most likely, like 99% of conspiracy theories was originated in Russia.
yeah,
Track it. And I almost want to say it's a fact, but I
it's
don't
a
want to sound
fact.
like them. I don't want to sound like them, but
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
Do you want me to read it? Because I have some notes on QAnon.
I don't know. I
No?
do wanna. I don't know.
Okay, let's leave it. Let's leave it for next time. But you are
Yeah,
absolutely correct. You have very good instincts, and it does come from Russia.
we want to do the truth here, not conspiracy. I'm so like not a conspiracy person. I'm against it, and completely, and I'm all for discernment.
No,
But
I'm not gonna say that
for
QAnon
it, like,
is a truth. I'm just I like to study it as a phenomenon. You
yeah,
know,
that's
so
interesting actually. But let's keep
but
it
we can
strictly.
leave it. We can leave it
Yeah,
till
we
next
have a
time.
lot of Russian narratives to debunk. So before we
There's
get
so
into,
much. There's so much Russia is putting out that we
Yeah.
cannot even get to
I do want
QAnon.
to say and do a plug here, and hopefully we'll get sponsored by them one day. Fantastic website, Ground News. When you go to it, it has like a thermometer of where like the narrative is at, like right wing, left wing, in the middle, on every news article that there is. It checks for kind of legitimacy as well. So highly recommend Ground News. I do a lot of my when I write my news brief and scripts all on Ground News. And if one day Ground News sees this, both Johnny and I are open to get sponsored by them. Thank you for this ad placement.
If you're a trustworthy organization, if you have good morals, if you're not connected to Russia in any way, if you have decency, if you're a human being, we would like to be sponsored by you. If you're connected to Russia in any kind of way, no thanks.
Yeah. Uh, I was just thinking that there's not, if anything, that this war exposed for me is how many morons there are out there and just how stupid people are getting, and it's sad. It really upsets me when I see insane talking points and MAGA. When the war actually started full scale, I was in a community on Clubhouse where they would just have debates, right? And it would be like MAGA and like Russians going at each other left, right. It was very intense and very ugly. So I heard it all, and to be in that environment, like it really stressed me out and like turned me off completely. Um, so I had to get out of that environment. But I knew what like MAGA is saying, and I started thinking that it's most like half, at least half of America actually thinks like this. It's not true. But when you're just, and they're convincing too. And there's another upsetting thing is that I haven't found a way to talk to these people to change their mind, and all the lies that they've picked up about Ukraine. It's Russia started doing its work very early on, laying out the seeds uh, for MAGA to hate Ukraine, and obviously none of it is true what they think of Ukraine, and it's the same thing. The corruption. Zelensky is corrupt. Ukraine is using our taxes, money. All of it went how it went to the details that they think they have the receipts to prove it. And there's been maybe only 3 times that I've seen somebody turn a MAGA person, tell them like these are lies, I've debunked them, and they be like, yeah, you're right. Very little amount of times. And over, even if like you keep saying over and over and over, keep debunking it again and again, they'll always bounce back to what they believe in, because it's confirmation bias. Basically, it confirms their ideologies. Basically, Russia is brilliant at manipulation like that, and it's not a pleasant process, but to sit through. So, but I know the kind of things that are going around, and it's like it puts a knot in my stomach almost.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, and it's the same for me. Like when I'm listening to MAGA talking points, which is exactly Russian propaganda. You know, um, I have like a reaction of disgust. And you have similar reaction. It's a good reaction. It's a proper reaction of a human being when you're being lied to, when you're being presented with like threatening, when somebody's trying to destroy your way of life. It's a proper reaction. And my belief, if people in United States or in Europe, anywhere, if they knew about 10% of what we know of who Russians are, of what Russia is, this type of propaganda would never fly. People would reject it on the instinctual level. It would not be okay. It would not be cool to try to be friends with Russia. If some politicians would say, "Oh, we can be friends with Russia," he would never get elected. If only people understood just this little bit about what Russia really is. And that's why it's our job, to make it known, to kind of make that to put that information out there. At the mention of Russia, people should be turning off their TV,
Yeah.
switching their news channel.
It's
You
the
know,
only way to deal with it. It's the only way.
yeah,
But
very very good point, Slavy.
I know you have a question from, I think, SSW. I lost it. But I know the question was, can you explain the design of your Vyshavanka and where it's from and everything?
You want to go first, or you want me to go
Oh,
first?
you. That was to you.
Oh, I went with traditional design today. This is super, super traditional. This is like, of course, right now there are all kinds of variations on Vyshavanka. Vyshavanka is super trendy. Vogue had an article in it, like, if you go out right now to a club, to a bar, or something like that, you can see super trendy designs like Slavie's rocking today. Slavie's is more trendy. It's more like kind of modern. I'm like from the 18th, 19th century fields in Ukraine today. This is very traditional design. Different regions in Ukraine have different designs that you can recognize. I'm not very well versed in exactly which region this represents, but this is the traditional of how it looks. You have these things. You have the thing that goes up to your belly button, maybe a little lower. You have this very nice cuffs, with the same design. And yeah, I
Great.
decided to go traditional route. And if you
Okay.
want to go,
I think it might be like Donetsk or something, but I have to pull up
possibly,
the,
yeah, possibly.
yeah. Mine is from
Donetsk,
Kharkiv, of course.
Kharkiv,
Design, yeah.
flower
And
design.
this is traditional, but
Yeah, the design is traditional, but it's got some modern touches as well, I think.
yours is more like a peasant shirt.
Don't say that. It's a celebration shirt.
It's, um, no, I
Vyshavanka is usually worn for celebrations, for
yes,
good occasions. It's a
yeah.
celebratory. And right now, the very modern design, I have that one as well, is a green, military green Vyshavanka with same kind of, like, maybe white embroidery or something like that. President Zelensky made that one very trendy,
I
very
was gonna
popular.
say,
I
yeah,
have that, but I decided to go in traditional style today.
yeah. Yeah, those are very, very cool. And I like the ones that, Zelensky wears where it's like either black on black or like green on green.
Oh,
Uh,
there's so many variations right now, and they're all cool, cool looking, just marvelous to look at and to see in public. You're gonna look good every time in the Vyshavanka.
yeah. Guys, if you have any questions, because I'm trying to like look through the chat to pick out your questions, it would really, really help me out. If you had a question or have a question, just put it in the chat real quick right now, and we'll answer it. It just takes forever for me to like scroll through and read the whole thing, all
Yeah,
the chat. I do see SSW custom asking Slavi, what about the one Yula works for? Oh, she's great. I love her. I think Starsky as well is on it. Um, it's great. I have absolutely nothing, no critique of them. They're very, very on point. The only Ukrainian media that I have a huge pickle with, and you guys, maybe some of you know, is Kyiv Independent. How they just threw Zelensky under the bus, and the whole this they threw Ukraine under the bus. It was just absolutely insane to me. And I don't care how much of a rebels they are, they hurt Ukraine with that editorial. And I'm still like kind of not promoting Kiev Independent as much, because you guys know what I put like the headlines in my videos when I talk about the news. So I've started to use their headlines, their images as less as possible. And United 24, thank you. Works so much better now. Still angry with them. Yeah. What they wrote about Zelensky, and it was horrible. It helped Russia out, and it did a lot of damage to the image of Ukraine. And many Ukrainians don't really understand, that are in Ukraine, don't really understand that Zelensky is great for Ukraine's image. There's literally no one better to do the job. Yeah, sure, he sucks for internal politics. You can critique all that as much as you want, but it's Ukraine would fall apart if you get rid of Zelensky now. He's the image, got a lot of support. He's great, very, has a lot of charisma. He's done great many things. And there isn't anyone, there's only one Zelensky. There isn't anyone that could have done even a better job, or even a half job as Zelensky did. Ukraine is lucky to have had Zelensky at the time as president when the full scale happened.
And also, to kind of add to that, he's an elected president of Ukraine. He was chosen by people of Ukraine. He's there legally. He won the election with 73 majority vote. He's in power according to the constitution of Ukraine. Ukraine is a Western country, the country of laws, the country of constitution, the country of following with what the laws say. The law says Zelensky will stay in power until we don't have war anymore. So Zelensky is following the law. Ukraine is following the law. All these talks about should Zelensky stay or go, they're only benefiting Russia.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for putting the questions there. So now we have a bunch coming in.
Oh, no way.
I have a question from M. Dow, great question, asking what will happen to the stolen children? Could some of them be shipped around the world, or do they get kept in Russia? I keep getting these questions that you guys think that they're like trafficking, that Russia's trafficking them outside of Russia. They're not. Russia needs people. They're sending these kids, some to fight, some, I mean, they're like kept as slaves. They're putting them in an online catalog to get adopted. And they have a demographic problem, so they need as many people. The Ukrainians are, what Russia wants to look like. So yeah, they're going to steal kids and keep them. I don't think they would outsource any of them. But that being said, they are being trafficked inside Russia, and even sex trafficked as well. On that note, though, Lindsey Graham, I know he says good things, but he came up with a new plan to get the stolen kids back, and it's if Russia doesn't give Ukrainian kids back, that we're gonna announce that Russia is the official state terror sponsor of terror. So Russia is a terrorist state. It's a fantastic plan. I hope it goes through and they vote it through, because this would damage the Russian elite and oligarchs. They won't be able to travel. They won't be able to get. I mean, still can't really travel that much, but it will make Russians' life very difficult around the world when you're from a terrorist state. And honestly, we
Absolutely.
don't want Russians traveling to the West. There's enough of them here, and that's a scary thought, to have Russians anywhere near. I do believe in like full Russian isolation and deport Russians from the United States, from the West. There are so many of them that left Russia when full scale happened. Not because it was wrong for Russia to invade. Oh no. Uh, it's because life got hard for them. A lot of like businesses closed, and um, but yeah, it wasn't because it was wrong to invade. None of that. These are good Russians, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Next question, Johnny. How this is from Adam Rounds. How different do you think this would have been if Biden had labeled Russia a terrorist state?
That's a correct decision. I mean, it's calling a spade a spade. It's a terrorist state. It's the only reason we're not calling Russia a terrorist state is because we have Russian agents. We're infiltrated by Russia inside the United States, inside of Europe, inside of all these countries where Russia spent so much time on soft power, on buying politicians, on influencing information space. And there's a tug of war, like Slavie says, in our politics, in our information space. We cannot just come out and say anything definitively on this. It's very hard. So it would be a win for a free world, for democratic world, for the Western world, for Ukraine to call Russia a terrorist state. It would be a loss for Russia, and that's what we should do.
Absolutely. Um, I fully back proclaiming that Russia is a terrorist state. And Biden, by the way, he didn't want to do it. This idea have been actually been floating around for a while now, um, and he didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do a lot of things, actually, the Biden administration, that went against Russia, because they were listening to Russia despite not showing that they're talking to Russia and being strong on that. They were listening, and um, I mean, they tied Ukraine's hands behind its back with the no long range weapons, and no, they were following all of Russia's asks. So they're not exactly um,
And now
yeah.
we're paying for it. If you don't want to fight with Russia today, you're going to have your children fight with Russia tomorrow. But there is not fighting Russia. That option doesn't exist. Russia will not give you that option. You will have to fight and possibly, risk your life. Russia will not leave you without that option.
Um, Interesting. Someone, they exist, answered that, saying that they do suspect the 3 million Muslims in Moscow do have ties elsewhere. So far, several channels are saying these kids remain in Russia. I say the money remains in Russia. Yeah, I've honestly, let me know if you guys, where you guys read that, and let me look into it, that Russia is trafficking these kids outside of Russia. I mean, it quite possibly can be very, very dark things that Russia can do in the black market. And I've honestly haven't heard of it, but it's Russia. Anything is possible when it's dark and destructive.
And also, can I touch on that comment about millions of Muslims in Moscow?
Yeah.
To anyone claiming that Russia is a Christian country, look at Moscow or any big Russian
With
city
family values, right? That's what MAGA thinks.
with family values, right?
Yeah.
Where they decriminalize domestic violence. So look at Russia, at Moscow or any big city during any Muslim holiday, Kurban Bayram, anything like that in Moscow. The streets are flooded with Muslims. There's nothing like that during Christian holidays. Russia is just flooded by Muslims, which they're building mosques everywhere, and that's fine. I mean, I have nothing against Muslims or Christians or anyone like that, but I have big time problem with Russian propaganda because it's a lie from first to last word. Everything is a lie. It's not a Christian nation. It's a more Muslim nation than Christian nation. It's not a white nation predominantly. Everything Russia puts out there is a lie, and we should stop repeating it.
Absolutely. Also, Russia is behind the migrant crisis in Europe and United States. They've pushed that to destabilize the West. They know exactly what they're doing. So the very thing that MAGA is against, the migrants and everything, is what Russia is doing. And these kind of like points and facts is so hard to get through MAGA's heads, that it's Russia is fueling the extreme, both of the extreme left and extreme right,
Yep.
to do just this, because it only benefits Russia when everyone is fighting and against each other. And that's what America is right now.
Do you remember Russians were like during 2020 when we had like BLM riots and all that stuff? Russians were coordinating like rallies in different cities. They would coordinate BLM rally and Trump supporter rally on a collision courses in many different cities. And United States, they were doing all of this online, and basically like the policemen in the United States, they had really hard time sectioning off people because they were too close, and it was a whole bunch of chaos that Russia was just doing because they don't care about this country. They hate us.
Almost anywhere where there is some sort of conflict, destabilization movement, Russia is behind it. I'm telling you, it is crazy, but that's how they do things.
It's an understatement, if anything else.
Yeah. I actually, there was a great post that I saw. I was actually thinking to do a whole video on this, and it's, let me pull it up real quick. And it's how Russia is now destabilizing and fucks with businesses and like corporations. Like, it's insane how far in they get. And they talk about it's a great company called Before Ukraine, and they give you like tools to spot these kind of things. It's very interesting.
Russia will destroy anything they can get their hands on in the West, in the United States, in any countries around them, in the countries they say they're friends. Keep in mind that Russians consider Ukraine a brotherly nation. Russians consider Ukrainians, they're like, they say Ukrainians and Russians are the same. They're saying that we're their brothers. They will ruthlessly do genocide on you if they think you're their friend. If they don't like you, you make your own conclusions.
Uh, I agree on that. And while at that, they will steal your culture. I mean, it started basically with like Kievan Rus. Russia started way after Kievan Rus. They hated the fact that it was an empire at the time. And so what they did was they took Rus, proclaimed themselves as like the third Rome, and we talked about this many times about this, and that's how they became Russia. Before they were Muscovites.
Yeah, the original name of Russia is Moscovia, and Russia. That's the name of Ukraine. That's a historical, archaic. That's an archaic name of Ukraine. But Ukraine since moved on. Like let's say Italy used to be called Roman Empire, right? So Italy has moved on. Now they're called Italy, right? But there's a country called Romania, that's using the Roman Empire name from before. But what if Romania said, hey, listen, we get to claim the whole of Italy as ours? That's exactly what Russia is doing right now. They took Ukrainian name for the name of their country because, in fact, Russia, which is archaic name of Ukraine, was never under Tatar and Mongolian rule. They were just under that rule briefly, and Russia was always under that rule, and they could not escape it. They were paying tributes to Tatars and Mongolians till 1700s, and this was a way to rebrand their country from Moscovia, because Moscovia was going to pay tributes to actually Crimean Tatar Khan. Am I going to deep into this
No,
history?
I actually had like a brief history of what you're explaining ready for today and for the next video I'm shooting like today. So that's exactly what I wanted to do, was do a brief history.
So Russia did a very smart thing. They just rebranded themselves with the Ukrainian name and say, oh, we're a different country. We don't owe you any tributes anymore. However, that's an issue, because they figured, okay, since we took Ukrainian name, maybe Ukrainian lands are also ours. And that's how they've been approaching the whole of Ukraine. They consider that Ukraine should be in the same state with Russia. But of course, Ukrainians feel differently. We're a separate nation. We have nothing in common with Russia. We have different mentality. We have different understanding, different language, different culture. We want to live like in a good country, in a European country, with good toilets, with good laws, with good police. We want to be part of a civilized world. We have nothing in common with Russians, other than they're imposing themselves onto us and trying to conquer us and genocide us or anything like that. That's the only commonality between Russia and Ukraine today.
There's a fantastic channel here on YouTube by Savage Sage, a Ukrainian guy. I highly recommend it. He does fantastic videos. He goes deep into the history and proves how Russians and Ukrainians are different people. Like there's not even like genetically anything similar about us. But he goes deep into it. Very interesting, fast-paced videos, thought-provoking. It's great. Highly recommended. I did recommend to Dick to have him on the show, so hopefully soon we'll have him on here.
That would be great.
Have you seen his videos?
Yeah, and also I really like that guy Timothy Snyder.
Oh yeah, the professor. Yeah, of course.
He's brilliant. He's so on point, so knowledgeable, and he's also very well versed in Russian propaganda, and he can quickly dismantle it like that. because he understands why Russians lie about everything. They lie about history, you know, about the name of their country, about who Ukrainians are and Russians are, everything, And if you just study a little bit of history, it's not buried too far back. I mean, any kind of history book shows that there is Ukraine. Even like, remember when Putin was speaking with some historian, Russian historian, and they have a map on the table from 17th century, and they're looking at the map and they're like, look, there is no Ukraine on this map. And that's actually, and Ukraine is right there. It says Ukraine, country of Kazakhs. That's actually the definitive map to prove that Ukraine was there. That's the map that they're looking at. They're looking at Ukraine right there in big letters, Ukraine, country of Kazakhs. And they say, look, there is no Ukraine. And that's their Russian thing. They don't care. Like, you present them with any kind of evidence that there's Ukraine, they're going to be looking at it and say, huh, there is not even a mention of Ukraine on this map anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, there is, of course. Same thing they did to this idiot, Tucker Carlson. They pulled out these documents that are everything false, about Rurik, who's a mythical figure, who's not a real person. They pull out, look at this huge, they pull out these huge books. I'm not lying to you. Check out these books.
It's not a person. Ukraine did have a Rurik dynasty. That was like big thing, but I don't think there was a specific person named Rurik.
There was nobody called Rurik, and this dynasty, only Russians are saying that they're Rurik dynasty because they never called themselves Rurik dynasty.
Exactly.
So anyway, so he gives Tucker Carlson, look at this, it's a proof. And like, what is Tucker Carlson gonna read like 800-page book? Like, so he's like, oh, I believe you, and that's the con. Like, when you say I believe you to Russians, you've been conned. Congratulations.
Yeah.
They just lied to you.
Speaking of disinformation, SSW has a great question to debunk. He's saying, I read an article that says Ukraine is sending developmentally disabled men to the front. I know it's not true, yet can this be debunked so others don't buy it?
It's not true.
Thanks.
In fact, of course, the quality of men that Ukraine is sending to the front line is much higher. A lot of times it's people with higher educations, with businesses, with degrees. And Russia is sending people on crutches from prisons, people missing a limb, people with no education, people who don't even know how to hold an AK gun. There's lots of videos on this topic saying that Ukraine sends developmentally challenged people to the front lines. That's a blatant lie. Which is what's expected. It's a typical Russian lie.
Yeah, anything that Russia accuses you of doing, that's exactly what they're doing.
Exactly.
100% of the time.
Exactly. So, and it's actually a very important point that Slavie is doing right now, because Russia is accusing Ukraine of some heinous things. And you can be 100% sure that Russia is doing those every day.
Absolutely. I do remember, this was quite a while ago, that there was a video that was circulating of a disabled kid being on the front. I have to refresh my memory. It was a big thing. Because you do have to be physically fit and mentally to be in the Ukrainian army. However, it was either the video was obviously of Russian origin, or that kid, I forget, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but like he was like checked and like good to go, like he wanted to be there and like to fight, and they checked everything. And I need to like refresh my memory, but of course Russia took that and spun that's what Ukraine is doing, disabled, everything men. It's like when what Johnny said, it's Russia that's doing it. They're sending men with missing legs and everything. So, but
And
in reality,
missing brains as well.
yeah, in reality, if you want to be in the Ukrainian military, you have to be very physically fit, and mentally there's a lot of checks that you have to go through to also make sure that you're not like a Russian spy, or spying for Russia. Don't need to be Russian, but because
And you just look at the situation on the front lines. Ukraine with less people, less economy, less everything. They're beating Russia. You know, how does that fall into this narrative that Ukraine is out of people and they're sending developmentally challenged people? That doesn't work.
also Ukraine or Zelensky, the policy is they don't want to start mobilizing younger men from like I think
I
18.
disagree with that strongly, but
But it's not the point. The point is that they're very like strict on like who they take, who they admit. You disagree with that?
yeah.
Explain yourself. Why?
When you're under attack from the biggest threat in history, you should mobilize everyone, especially the young people. They're very good at war, at fighting. They have no business. It's their country to protect. Ukraine military is very advanced, very high tech, very modern, very humane. There's nothing wrong with sending these young men who have good brains, good bodies, good understanding. Ukraine is doing everything correctly. They're training these men very well. They spend a lot of time training them, teaching them all the workarounds, how the drones work, how the artillery works. There's many positions in Ukrainian army that this young man could take and to reinforce our battle front lines. Now is not the time to play this liberal game with like rose glasses colored, like people with rose colored glasses on, like, oh, let's not send children to war. Yeah, listen, we have to protect Ukraine is here because of its military right now. You guys are not sending enough anything. Ukraine is doing everything right now. Ukraine is doing flamingo today, doing all this missile, all this innovation, all this drone technology, all these things that are hitting Russia where it hurts, into pipelines, into airstrips where Russia has never suffered like that. It's Ukrainian ingenuity. And this young man, even though it's a dangerous position, but this young man would get great military education, great military positions. It's dangerous, of course, but we're fighting very ruthless enemy. And it's less dangerous if there's more Ukrainians, if the Ukrainian front lines are reinforced. It's safer for everyone. It's safer for other Ukrainian soldiers. So I think Zelensky, he's not a military man. He's trying to make everyone happy, but he has to realize that he's at the head of a fighting country, the country at war, and he has to make correct decisions here.
I definitely see your point, but I also see, these young men. It's the only future for Ukraine. So I see both sides here, and I don't know.
The way I see this conflict, we've been at war with Russia for as long as Russia existed, and every time when Russia occupies Ukraine, they do a genocide. Right now, in this conflict with Russia, a lot less Ukrainians are dying than anywhere in history. We've been under attack by Russia for a long time. Anytime they get a hold of Ukraine, they genocide us, they starve us to death. Millions and millions of Ukrainians die. It's the Russian way. Right now, we lost a lot of good men. A lot of people are dead and displaced, but it's a lot less, historically speaking, than any time in history. And it's only because we're fighting back. It's a lot safer and a lot less lives are lost when you're fighting Russia back. If you let them occupy Ukraine, then you're going to see how all those young children and men are going to be destroyed. They're going to be sent to concentration camps in Siberia to make a new pipeline for Russia into every direction, into Orban's backyard, into Fico's Slovakia's backyard, into across the Bering Strait to Alaska. Then you're going to see. I would rather have that young man join the Ukrainian military, learn how to fly a drone, use his ingenuity, Ukrainian brain. They're very good at typing code. There's so many positions in the army today. There are people who need to type computer programs. There are people who need to, be in the back, in the front, in the center, everywhere. The healthy Ukrainian army is the backbone. That's why Ukraine exists. And you cannot mess with. I just disagree with that. There might be different opinions, but I don't see any reason to have the most capable, most fit, best people for the job to not be asked to do the job.
Absolutely, I do see your point, and I don't disagree with it. So, we need to start wrapping up. But before we go, there was one more news story, and which we haven't yet mentioned yet, and it's Ukraine's 90 billion for U.S. weapons, which the 90 billion would be provided by Europe, as it should, just like Europe should put boots on the ground. But this is huge, and that's what Ukraine is trying to put this deal together right now. The main focus is it's huge. I mean, Trump will like this. Can't say no to such a huge deal, and Zelensky knows this. And I'd say it's a lot more than what Russia has to offer. I think this deal beats out Russia big time. Of course, Russia knows this, and they will do everything to stop this from happening. But it's big. It's something to pay attention to in the next couple of days, weeks, and hopefully it goes through. Also, there's I forget the exact number, but in the 90 billion, also there's a deal in there for United States to get Ukrainian drones, because United States drones suck. And this is the new warfare age, is the drones, as you guys know. So it's to sweeten the deal. It's pretty sweet, and I hope Trump takes it. Johnny, do you have any final thoughts, any announcements for your channel? Guys, don't forget to go to Johnny's channel and please subscribe. He does fantastic interviews of random people on the streets of Los Angeles about Ukraine. And yeah, go ahead, over to you.
Yeah, and likewise, go, I guess, to Yarochenko channel and check out the beautiful and very correct and well-timed updates of Ukraine, of everything that's happening on the ground there as well. Um, Thanks to everyone who tuned in. I had a good time today, spreading some good messages, positive, propaganda-free information, something that I feel very passionate about. And thanks for letting me do this on your channel, Slavie.
Yeah, thank you so much for sticking it out with me after we weren't gonna do this show. And I was like, maybe let's do it. I'll try to stream. And here we are. It was a little rocky when we started, but great
Rocky start.
conversation. Covered a lot of things that needed to be covered. Um, guys, don't.
We have a good pace on this channel. Have you noticed? Like
Yeah,
we get through a lot more points.
it's more of a conversation flow rather than like segment. Like, okay, now we're doing this and this and this. So uh, it worked out great. And
Maybe we'll do this again. Maybe we'll mix and match
yeah,
with
now
different
I know I
guests.
can stream because I was like deathly scared of streaming by myself before. I don't know what it is, but I was like, I don't know. I really I can't do the stream myself or control the stream. I just had like this block, but here we are, and everything's fine. It's great, easy to use software, and I have been trying to figure out how to put your guys' chat on the screen. So for next time, for all your super chats and everything, hopefully I'll figure out how to do that and pin your comments as well and your questions. It would be great to see them on screen. That being said, guys, don't forget, please, to check out my latest Ukraine update with Slavie. The video is fresh, came out yesterday on the latest news. Um, the news have been absolutely insane, so please make sure to check it out, comment on it, like, and share. Takes a lot out of me to make these videos, so hopefully you like it.
It's a very hard work. It's very important. I know how hard it is, what Slavie is doing, and I followed her from the very beginning. And I even asked her because I cannot do. She's very smart. I mean, when you said like, "Oh, I don't know how to do the stream," I had full confidence in you. I
Really?
knew that you will. Look at it. I was right. You succeeded. You did it.
Well, that being
Yeah.
said, I did spend nights after nights trying to figure out a streaming software. So I knew like what I needed to do, but the times that I actually went for it and did it, it never worked out. It was like streaming twice on a channel. One stream would have got. It was a mess. So, and I guess now it's fine. But I'm glad this software is very easy to use, and I'm glad. And
And
start some
me
streams, guys. I can do it.
And me being a total noob, I didn't even see that people have been messaging me on the channel. If you don't mind, I'll just do a quick shout out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's Sally Luz, and she messaged at the very beginning saying, Johnny, there's anything you can increase your volume on the microphone. And then she said, okay, it's much better now. I guess that's when you noticed that my microphone is too low. And somebody called Logos Fabula said, happy Flag Day, Ukraine, Slava, Ukraini, Geroyam Slava. And what a great way to finish on that beautiful note.
Absolutely. Don't forget, tomorrow is also Ukrainian Independence Day, and it's a big day. Important to celebrate, to show mainly Russia, because they hate this day. Obviously, it's independence, celebrating Ukraine's sovereignty, and yeah, and they also hate the history of it. Sorry. Which, by the way, my next video, which I'm doing, I'll shoot it. I'll try to get it out to you by Monday. Is going to be more of history on this day. So please tune in to that. I haven't done much history videos, and I'm very excited to do this. I'll try to tie it into current news as well, but look out for that. That being said, thank you, Johnny, so much for sticking it out. Today we covered a lot. Security guarantees being negotiated right now. New alliances are forming. NATO weighing how to keep Moscow hands off its neighbors while Ukraine is doing NATO's job, literally. The very thing it was formed to do. We talked about also all the uh, I don't know how to word it. All of Russia's what's called war crimes, because that's what they are. War crimes that they're doing currently and in the past. And yeah, America needs to be part of this story, I would say. I think that's what Zelensky is fighting for the most right now, because even in optics, it helps when America is on the right side of history, even if it's purely symbolically.
Yeah.
As we saw what happens when United States, um, the summit happens, and it's going to be a win for Russia either way. So even if it's symbolically and United States isn't doing much to help, it needs to happen. It needs to be on Ukraine's side. So that's why we're seeing this tug of war right now. Yeah, also tomorrow, 33 years after independence, Ukraine is still proving that dictators can be stopped, that courage can face brutality, but this fight isn't cheap and it isn't someone else's problem either. If Ukraine wins, the free world holds. If it loses, the rules change for everyone, including us. So that's why support matters now more than ever. This is the fight of our lifetime, on the ground and online. The information war is real. Every fact shared, every lie dismantled, like we did today, every voice that raised pushes back against a regime that wants us all smaller and silent. Uh, if you want a brighter and safer and more just world, it starts here, arming Ukraine with truth, with weapons, and will. And yeah, before we sign off, I want to thank everyone, all the viewers. Thank you for being here. The mods, you guys are rock stars as always. Thank you so much for providing those links real quick. Amazing, lucky to have you, seriously. And to everyone who stands with Ukraine, who supports our channels and others like it, you're keeping us armed in this information war and helping us fight propaganda with truth. Every like, every share, and every donation is fuel. If you haven't already, but subscribe to both the channels that we're streaming on. Drop a like, leave a comment. It matters more than you think, believe me. And I'll leave you with this. 33 years into independence, Ukraine is still fighting for its right to exist and holding the line for a free world. What will it take for people to realize that if we don't stop dictators now, they will write the rules of our future? We don't want that to happen now, do we? So on that note, God bless America and Slava Ukraini.
Heroям слава.
Now, how do I turn this off?
I think you just press the end stream. Shall we end it? Let's do it together.
Bye, guys. And
bye, guys.
And